You mentioned a wrestler. What'd you guys think of that movie?
It's hard to watch for us because, I mean, it's so accurate. It's very accurate.
Is it accurate?
Oh, yeah.
You know, Cornette had a coronary over that movie, saying that's not an accurate reflection of how traditional wrestling
now,
is.
it's not accurate to modern day wrestling because now guys are like just playing video games in the locker room and pretty much behaving themselves for the most part in the locker room scene. But I mean, it's like just for the indie stuff they show in the movie.
Felt pretty damn real.
It felt
huh?
real, yeah.
Interesting. All right, if I may continue, because I would like to get the rest of the juice in, otherwise he's going to be thirsty.
Okay, sorry about that.
All right.
Farrell's got to have his FaceTime, guys. Sorry.
What? This is not. Oh, God. Holy ego, Batman. American retired professional wrestler, best known for his appearances in the WWF, obviously, back before they became the WWE, during the Attitude Era under the ring name Gillberg, a parody of then the rival promotion World Championship Wrestling's top star Goldberg, obviously. During his tenure in the WWF, and this is what I really remember, Gillberg became the light heavyweight champion. He would go on to hold the title for 15 months, becoming the longest reigning light heavyweight champion as recognized by WWE. Gillberg also managed to be ranked 120 in the top 500 of the PWI 500. This is one of my absolute favorite gimmicks.
Wait a minute, I don't the PWI thing. That's friggin' awesome, dude.
That's incredible.
I was in PWI
That's
every
great.
year. Yeah, I was in there every year.
That's great.
You know, because we were growing up as wrestling fans at some point, right? You didn't have cable or whatever else, so get to see these other organizations. And when you were in the PWI Top 500, that was a big deal, man. That's a big deal.
It really was.
Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, one of my favorite wrestlers from the Attitude Era. I just love to watch this guy do his thing. Gillberg.
Thank you.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby.
Hey, I got a stat for you that'll get you. Go back to WWE, WWF, WWF. Longest reigning champions, singles champions. I'm number 8 of all time.
Wow, you hit the top 10 in a company that's been around over half a century. Man, that's weird.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's awesome.
It is awesome.
If you remember when Lesnar beat it, they go, "Hey, you just beat Gillberg's record." And put him in 7th.
That was the...
Remember?
Yeah. Oh, my God. What do you got for us, Mike?
I got my little 10 minutes of fame, you know what I mean?
You got a little more than that.
Let me ask you, you got more than that.
You got more than
You're
that.
a household name. Both of you gentlemen are a household name.
To us wrestling marks. Well, wait, I'm a wrestling nerd.
How you guys holding up through COVID?
You know, it's not too bad. Spending a lot of time with the family, which you don't get really a lot of chance to do when you're a wrestler. Like, I'm still an active wrestler, wrestle a lot on the independents, and leave home for days at a time doing tours. So, like, I've been really enjoying the time with my daughters and my fiance, and it's been easy peasy for me, honestly. Like, I know a lot of people out there are struggling. It's very hard, and it's very sad, and it's very frustrating. But for me, I've been blessed to get through it with ease, really, and I've been very lucky and fortunate.
How about you, Gillberg?
Me, I do construction, and I'm actually in the best shape of my life. I work out every single night. My son comes over and works out with me, and I feel great.
Wait a minute, you're still out there slinging sledgehammers on concrete?
Oh yeah, man. I do all that stuff, man. I build you.
Wow.
Give me an empty lot, and I'll build your house. Dig the hole, everything.
Damn.
That's what I do for a living.
Sweet.
James, you just had a wrestling event in West Virginia, right?
Yeah, about 5 hours ago, it feels like.
I know. God
Actually, about 12.
But what was it like? Was it outdoors? I mean, how was the fan reaction? Did people come? You know, considering what's going on.
Well, it was actually very cool. It was a drive-in show. It was outdoors at a theater, at a movie theater, but it was a drive-in movie theater. And
the fans sat in their cars?
Well, they pull up in their cars and they bring their own chairs, whether it's a steel chair or lawn chair or whatever, and sit the chairs next to their cars and watch the event. And they still did the meet and greet with social distancing and masks and everything. It was myself, Ricky Morton, Shane Douglas, Enzo Amore. We're all there. And, yeah, there was a lot of people there. A lot of cars showed up. They had over 100 cars. You know, some cars had 2 people, some cars had 4 people.
Wow, yeah.
But, I mean, it was very successful, and it was a great time. It felt like it was a little bit of normalcy there, like going to an indie show, meet and greeting with fans, having a match. Like, it felt normal. It was cool.
Wow.
Tell us when you started, Gillberg, about the WWE whole deal as an enhancement talent. How were you contacted by WWE?
Well, what happened was I was trained by my partner, Barry Hardy.
Okay.
And he was already up there doing jobs. And when he thought I was good enough, he took me up to the Monster Factory in New Jersey to Larry Sharp.
Pretty boy
And
Larry Sharp.
Larry sent a lot of talent up there. And we got in the ring and we're wrestling, and I was actually wrestling Glenn Ruth, Thrasher. And as we were wrestling, I do a thing where I can come in the hard way, you know, from the outside of the ring, but I can go all the way across the 20-foot ring, hit, and go out the ropes. And Larry came out of his office. I still remember the Godfather was coming out with him. They were coming out of his office, and Barry did the slingshot, and I hit and went out the other side. And Larry goes, whoa, 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 wait a minute. And we were like, yeah, what? And my God, there's Larry Sharp standing in front of me. I'm like, you know what I mean? It was the first time I really saw a big star. And he goes, I don't believe I saw what I think I just saw. Can you do that again? And we're like, what? And he goes, come in the ring the way you did. I said, okay. So we got outside, and I got on the outside, and we started doing the fighting like. And he goes, no, stop all that. Just come in the ring. And Barry went, boom, bam, and I hit, boom. And when I hit, I stood right up and leaned on the ropes like that. I go, is that what you wanted? And he goes, you can go.
Wow.
Just like, and I mean, to be honest with you, I was such a fan that I didn't really get Wrestling Was Fake till probably my 5th match.
What? Really?
Yeah. Man, but I still remember training Barry showing me a punch. I'm going, man, are you kidding? Come on, don't mess with me, man, like that. And he's going, Dwayne, that's it.
So
that's
now,
it, buddy.
did you both grow up wrestling fans?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh.
I've been watching wrestling since I can remember.
So what makes you both go, okay, this is the path I want to go on with my life?
I personally, like I said, I've been a fan my whole life. I can't remember not watching wrestling. And at the same time, I can't remember not wanting to be a wrestler. So it's been like a whole life's journey. Like it's all I've thought about. It's all I've ever loved, like as a, you know, something I wanted to do as a profession. And yeah, just since I can remember, I wanted to do it and have watched it and have loved it.
Tell them about the elementary school deal.
This
is how far back we got.
This is a great story. It's a
That
true
you
story.
guys go together.
Yes.
Yeah, listen. This
So,
is no lie.
I was 9 years old, in like 5th grade.
I'm up doing jobs at WWF.
Right.
I see him wrestle Owen Hart on Monday Night Raw doing a job as Dwayne Gill. And the next night, I go to my elementary school. I'm 9 years old. And he's up on a ladder, like
I was a
fixing
maintenance man for the school
fixing a
board.
light.
Right.
And I said, Mr. Dwayne, you know, he knows my family, my uncle, you know, my mom and my dad. I said, Mr. Dwayne, like, aren't you a big wrestling star? Why are you working at my school? And he looked at me, and I was 9 years old, and he goes, you'll understand one day.
Oh, my
nice.
God.
Little does he realize.
Crazy.
Don't worry, kid.
Yeah, like, and
Are
like,
we
understand.
changing light bulbs together? What are you talking about? I'm so confused.
Well, first, Dwayne, we've got a personal friend, Bill Pierce. I think he worked as
Oh,
an
yeah.
enhancement
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you knew Bill?
sure.
Yeah,
back in
Billy's
the
a good
day?
friend of mine. Yep.
Yeah, so Bill's still going at it, too, in the independent circuit. He's a good guy.
Awesome.
So you both were trained Larry Sharp, Icon, and then Axel Rotten on your end.
No,
Yeah.
Barry Hardy trained me.
But
Larry
but
Sharp
went,
did
but
not
you went
train
to
me.
Larry's school, right?
No, Barry Hardy trained me in his basement on this right here.
On that.
Concrete and a half-inch piece of padding with a piece of carpet on top of it.
No wonder you thought it was completely real for a while. You're
Yeah.
being bounced off concrete.
You know, I still remember when the first time I wrestled the Road Warriors. I was standing there, and an animal come in the ring, and he looked across at me, man, and he went, man, I backed up to Barry. I went, oh, my God, Barry. Man, these guys know this stuff is fake, right? I didn't say stuff, though. And he goes, get out of my way. And he's going, I'm going to break you in half. Man, I swear you can ask my partner, Barry Hardy. I'm going, dude, shut up, man, shut up, man. And then I remember when it was my turn to get in, I got in, and Hawk pushed me back in the rope, and he goes, clothesline, brother. I was running to the ropes, looking back, going, he talked to me. He talked to me. I swear to you, man. I swear to you. My philosophy with wrestling is this. You know how fans are called marks?
Yep.
The true mark is the wrestler. Because think about it. A fan is smart enough to go, I'll pay my $10, $20 and sit out here and watch these guys kill each other. The mark is the guy that goes, I don't care how much it hurts, how much I pay, how much I got to do. I want to get in that ring and do that. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
It's
mean,
also- yeah.
that is the mark. And to me, to this day, wrestling, people ask me, and I go, man, wrestling is my life.
Yeah.
It's everything to me. and I mean, it sucks what's happening to it.
Do some wrestlers, it seems to me like when some wrestlers come in, they seem very, very a fan first as they're breaking in.
Yeah.
They're still a fan, so they're
Yeah.
obviously going to have their mark out. He talked to me. Like,
Yeah, I watched Dusty Rhodes start and all. I had standing reservations at the Eddie Graham Sports Arena in Florida. Watch him, Eddie Graham, Mike Graham, you know, everybody you can think of start, you know.
Have you watched certain guys go from the wrestling fan to the huge superstar and then just turn into complete assholes?
And
lose
also,
their
I
love?
watched them become superstars and then become my friends.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was the coolest part.
Right.
You know, I used to sit in the locker room, and Randy Savage would look at me and go, "What? What?" And I'm like, "Randy, you're you. That's the funny part, man. You're you.
Right.
It isn't like you would go, oh, yeah, do his thing, and then come in and go, hey, so Dwayne, how's it going?" He was
Right,
like, "So, man, what's up, brother? You know," and I'm like,
But
I
you think
couldn't
everybody-
handle it,
you guys,
man.
did you guys lived your gimmick a little bit too, right? It was an extension of both of you, no?
Oh yeah.
oh, hey.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, me personally, like, he didn't know wrestling was fake until what? He said it was his fifth match. Me personally, I think I was 11, and my mom goes, you know, Santa Claus isn't real, the Easter Bunny isn't real, that dollar under your pillow for your chief, that's not from the Tooth Fairy, that's from me. Oh yeah, by the way, that wrestling crap you watch, that's fake too. And I was like, what?
Speaking of your mom, right? So you love the sport, and then at what point do you say, "Hey, Ma, I'm going to be a wrestler"? And what does she say to you?
Well, I've been, you know, I told them my whole life, my parents, I want to be a wrestler, I want to be a wrestler. It didn't really hit them until I graduated high school when I was 17, and 4 days later, like, you know how when you graduate, you get money from relatives and friends, you have a party, and they get,
Yeah.
so it was like $2,700, and wrestling school was $2,500 in Baltimore, where Axel and Bone Breakers, where I went, where Axel was training at, and I said, all right, I want to take this money, and I want to be a wrestler. My parents were like, you know, at the time, I'm 5'8". I haven't grown an inch since. I'm still 5'8". 125. I'm about $170 now, so I did put on some pounds. And they're like, you're 5'8", 125, and you want to become a wrestler. And you're going to spend all this money on it. He's like, you're going to spend this money to break your neck and get hurt. And they're like, no, you need to go to college. And I was like, I'm going to wrestling school. And 4 days later, after I graduated, I took that money and went to wrestling school.
So you go to the school, you start your training.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a point that you're like, I maybe shouldn't have done this, or you're just like, you're all in?
I was all in. I remember the training was hard, especially this is 2002. It was still harder, like, in that era. It's a lot easier these days, I think, and it's not a good thing to get into.
He came in when we were still killing the guy. You had to pay your dues.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I remember.
You got your ass kicked, man.
Yeah, like,
excuse me.
One day after training, I remember we're all sitting at a Burger King, a bunch of trainees, and they're all like, "Man, this is really rough. This hurts. This is, you know, this ain't fake at all. You take a pounding," and a couple were talking about quitting. I remember looking at them going, well, "I ain't quitting. I just spent $2,500 on this. I ain't quitting."
Right. Did,
So-
did Axel, you know, it's interesting being trained by an ECW legend rather than the traditional training. I mean, what was it like being trained by Axel Rotten? Were you like taking practice chair shots and going through tables? I mean, what
He
was
kicked your
what
ass,
was the
man.
curriculum being trained
He
by an
kicked your
ECW?
ass.
Well, that's the thing. Like, the people think of Axelrod, and he became popular off of like the Taipei Death Match and you know, the hardcore chair swinging freak and all that. But Axel was a great worker in the ring.
Right.
Like, he worked the territories, Memphis with Lawler and all that. If you go back and find any of that film on Axelrod, he was a great worker in the ring.
Oh,
Great-
his psychology was second to none.
you know, and he was. If you can look for interviews from Paul Heyman or like Raven or Jake Roberts putting over Axel for having great psychology, having a great mind for the business, and I was very fortunate to get trained by him and become his friend and go on the road with him a little bit on the indies. And
Your thoughts on him when, you know, he passed?
well, that's the thing. Like, he had his demons. You know, I'm very blessed to, like, even though he had his demons, I never got into that stuff. And him and I, we became just great friends. And anytime he would get into that stuff, he knew I wasn't about that, and he would take a break from, you know, talking to me or speaking to me, and like, because he would go in like spurts. Like, he would go 2 months without doing anything. And in that 2 months, we would hang out, go to the movies, go to wrestling shows. Like,
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, right? Because it's like you're in the wrestling school. Let's say he's training you. I mean, was there a point like you went into his office? And
Oh,
he's
no.
doing
When
something?
he was doing that, when he was training, Axel was
Straight.
straight. Axel was straight. Now, Axel actually helped part we all learned together. Me, Axel, Barry, and all of us, and we started MCW together. And I had a Monster Factory for a long time. He trained at, and then Danny, who owns Bone Breakers and all, was one of my students. And then I became more famous and couldn't have my school no more, so Danny started Bone Breakers, and Axel was like, man, let me show you what to do, Dan. And Danny was smart enough to say, yeah. So Axel got all that together and helped Danny out and got everything to,
But yeah, when he was training people, he took it seriously.
Was a brain, man. It's a damn shame. I'm serious. He was so smart. If you could have sat down and picked his brain, you would have been like, my God, this guy's brilliant. If he could have not had the demons, we were talking about it on the way up here, I guarantee you, he would have been Triple H. He would have been, he would have been up there. He would have been unbelievable. He really would have.
Were you two able to avoid the pitfalls of this business, the drugs, the things that come with it?
Jimmy, this is the God's honest truth, is the true straight-laced person. He's never smoked nothing, snorted nothing, taken nothing.
Not even a special hash brown?
I have my occasional beverage.
He really is the straight-laced
And you told us before the interview that you like Italian food.
Yes, I do. My fiance's Italian, cooks Italian dinners all the time, and I love it. And so I can't wait to.
But how about you, Gil? Were you into the extra?
Well, I never got into the coke and all that, but yeah, I smoked.
Might have smoked a few sparklers. Is that what you
said? Smoked, a few of them, I'll say.
Very nice. Very nice.
So maybe I smoked your share and his share and his share.
Hey,
but see this way, man. Me and the Godfather are brothers.
Okay.
What did the WWE pay you in the '90s as enhancement channel?
Enhancement. We made $250 a night. Well, but I made it up to $500 a night. Plus they paid your hotel. Plus they gave you travel. On a 3-day deal, I would usually come home with about $2,500.
And how often did you work for them at that point?
Every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks they did 3 days. They did Raw. I think it was Tuesday night main event or Saturday night main event, and then was it
Superstars, right?
Superstars, yep.
That's not bad for a couple of minutes.
No. It was great. It was great. You know, it really was. And I used to take 10 and 12 people at a time up there. I used to get a van and come on, guys, all my students went up there and everything, yeah. And we all met Larry's students, who was Glenn Ruth, D'Lo Brown, all them. You know what I'm saying?
So let me ask you this: a lot of people bitch and moan about the WWE being this billion-dollar enterprise. And, you know, you're one of the older wrestlers, and they feel that some of these guys who made Vince McMahon all this type of money should have gotten, like, pensions and 401ks and all this. Where do you stand on that?
It'd be nice. But to tell you what it's like and what the locker room was like back when I was in there, I was a jobber. I was a broke-ass wrestler, you know what I mean? And I was up there working, and I had been on, they had us on for like a week. And I had like $5,000 in my bag, and I came back after a match, and it was gone.
Oh, Ace.
Now I'm freaking out, right? It's in WWF's locker room, not WWF. Mm-hmm. I'm freaking out, and I mean I'm crying, man. I'm like, my God, there's everything, my bills, everything, man. What am I gonna do? Vince sees the tape, walks over, he goes, what happened? I said, Mr. McMahon, I had this money right here, and it's gone. He said, calm down, Dwayne, calm down. Walks over to Chief, see him talking to Chief. Chief walks over and goes, here you go. Vince walks back and goes, I'm sorry that happened in my locker room.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's why.
You said Chief J Strongbow?
Oh yeah, Chief J Strongbow, of course.
Sure.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, like, they pay you very well.
Very well,
it's
man.
It's up to you to save the money and all that. I mean, pensions will be nice and health insurance. But the thing is, you get paid so much, you can get that on your own because they like anybody that like it drives me nuts when guys cry about what they get paid up there, like
ridiculous.
You
money.
Get paid like, man. I remember my first like month's paycheck there was more money I've ever seen in my life, and I'm like, And so when I see like other wrestlers go on Twitter, and I hate Twitter and all that, when people cry and complain on there, that's not where you handle business like that, just in my humble opinion. And I'm like, man, what are you talking about? Like, you're making a lot of money. You can, like, way more than the average person. That's what I think about. The average guy makes, what, 40 grand a year? In WWE, you can make that in a month or two. Even like the smallest guy can make that in like at least 4 months. You know, it doesn't take you a whole year at all to make that.
So I guess, you know, you're in the newer age of wrestling, right? Where people probably got paid a lot more. You're kind of in the middle, but a lot of them, you know, like maybe a superstar Billy Graham, right? A guy who maybe built the business.
One of them.
Right? You know, who's pretty much just broke now with tons of medical problems.
Right.
I mean, do you think there should be a difference between those guys, those legends who helped build the business?
I really feel that they made their money.
Yeah.
But they spent it.
Right.
Can I say something?
You can say everything.
Made a shit ton of money. I'm broke. Why? I raised my cost of living, right? In other words, I lived at a $60,000, $70,000 living.
Okay.
I got that job, you know, the contract, boom, I jumped up $300,000-$400,000 a year living. New cars, new boats, new house, new this, new that. You lose your job. You're back down to $70,000. But you're still living at $300,000-$400,000.
Yeah.
So you
fast forward 7 years later, you're like, what do you mean declined?
Right.
I got, that was years
in
ago.
hindsight, you
I
almost
ain't got
wish you
that no more.
You almost wish in hindsight you had stayed in
If I'd have
your
stayed
regular
right-
apartment and taken the money and put it in the bank.
If I'd have stayed where I was, I wouldn't be working today. I wouldn't be out doing construction. I definitely made Vince and the WWF took more than good care of me when I was in there. You know what I mean?
But your point is, you spent it.
Yeah, you just spend it. What happens is, I always wondered, how is he broke? How is he broke? I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't do drugs or none of that.
Right.
I just lived at a higher lifestyle than the money I was bringing in. But when I started living that lifestyle, I was bringing in a lot of money.
Right.
And like hung out with millionaires, but I was a thousandaire.
Right.